Federico invited me to fish this special lake hidden somewhere in the center of Italy, I just knew that this would be the kind of experience I had to share with one of my best friends. So it was only natural for me to ask my old fishing mate Didier to join me on this trip. This is the kind of lake I used to fish during my childhood. It reminds me about the time when small waters were still full of mystery and inspired tales of uncaught monsters. For sure, the lake isn't very big, it's even quite small, about the size of the famous Redmire Pool in England. But it's full of natural food, and there aren't many fish, so catching them is not that easy. The day we arrived and saw the water for the very first time, we didn't have a clue as where to start. But after some close observations from the boat in the margins and some research with the echo sounder in the deeper parts of the lake, it became quite obvious that our best option was to concentrate our efforts in fishing close to the opposite bank. The main bank would be too much disturbed by our own presence and the action of the film crew, but the opposite bank was inaccessible and very quiet. The margins were full of sunken trees and bushes. There was lots of wheat, the perfect place for a carp to be and feed. The most critical part of our fishing was going to be getting our baiting strategy and hook bait presentation right. With so many natural food in the water and so few fish to catch, heavy baiting would have been a big mistake. On this type of lake, the best approach I could think of was to fish each time with each rod for just one single fish. So it was just a matter of getting our baits and rigs into the right places without overfeeding the fish. Evening now, and I will bait up 6 different spots, 6 different areas to put a rod on tomorrow, not tonight. I will just leave the bait, the freebies here, do the work tonight, so that the fish can feed on it and get confident in it. Most of the time, if I do a session, I don't fish the first 24 hours. I first bait up the swims and give the fish some time to get on the baits. So I'm now checking the bottom in the different spots I want to fish. To make sure that I'm in the right depth on a hard clean bottom. I'm very close to the reeds now. But there's too much weed here in the water, so I will have to find the right distance to be on the clean bottom line. There we go. This seems to be about the right distance. Here there's wheat. Here it's flat and clean. And if I go further out, it goes down deeper. Here we are fishing with a very simple bottom bait rig, normal crab boilie with some fish meal in it, a very digestible attractive bait. The hook link is a coated braided hook link. I remove the coating at the first 7 centimeters from the hook. Then we have a little quick shot, and this part is protected with the coating. I'm using a centerline inline lead for direct hooking, maximum of inertia. And the beauty of this lead is then with worry carp, if they get hooked and they shake their head to get rid of the hook, well, it will just pull the swivel out of the lead, and the lead can then freely move over the protect leader, and the fish cannot use the lead anymore to get rid of the hook. Yeah, and si on peut le décrocher là. Tiens, attends.
Bah si.
Oh, the hook hold is too good. Mini carp. Smallest carp of the lake. First tried with normal bottom bait boilies on optimized standard rigs, and we also got a couple of rods out with pop-ups. After a few days of fishing, we caught a couple of fish on the normal boilies and only one single fish on the pop-up. Both DJ and I felt there was something wrong with our hook bait presentation. We had been fishing some clean gravel patches in the shallow margins, as well as some slightly deeper spots with some silt, dead leaves and green algae on the bottom. And these were the spots we caught the fish from. On the fourth day of our session, we decided to do a 24-hour test with boosted snowman presentation on 3 of our rods. I've decided to put out one of my rods with the boat because I fished the opposite bank at about 130-140 yards out, and I found a nice clean spot very close to the bank, but it's only a very small spot of clear gravel, and really I need to go out with the boat to be sure to have my bait present in the middle of this spot. And then I can also tightly bait up around it. So that's what I do now. Nowadays I fish a lot with the bait boat, the navigator bait boat. I've chosen for the navigator because it's a very reliable boat, a very silent boat with the right speed and the right energy autonomy. I like to fish with bait boat presentation because you get a real good presentation. You can be sure that you have no tangles in the rig, and you are also sure that you have a very tight baiting around the rig. My bait boat has an echo sounder module, which means that I can see the bottom exactly in the spot where I drop the bait and the rig. This way I'm really sure to fish in the right depth on a clean spot. This really helps me to fish in a more effective way. last week.
During the first 5 days of the session, we could see carp cruising in the warmer shallow end of the lake. It was obvious that some of the carp were already getting ready for spawning. I tried some stalking for these fish, but they didn't care at all about my tasty hook baits. Their mind was not on feeding, but on sex. During the 6th day of our session, we had some heavy rainfall, and in the space of just a few hours, the water temperature dropped a few degrees. This made the carp in the shallow end of the lake move back to the deeper water and got them slightly feeding.
Et un peu plus. Tu l'as levé un peu? Baisse ton manteau.
It's okay. In fact, during the whole session the weather has been quite unstable and the fish were never really hungry. But with our snowman presentation combined with tight baiting of small quantities of boilies and pellets around the rigs, we managed to catch on a regular basis, and we ended up catching some of what are believed to be the biggest fish in the lake.
Yeah, it's not tired. This is not as bad.
Eggs. Where are the eggs? Just two.
Po' differenza.
Mix everything. Okay.
c'est en dessous. Ah, là, c'est le montage. Tu crois? Non, non, c'est en dessous là maintenant. Voilà. Ah, là, c'est la main droite. Ouais, on va le chercher. C'est ça. On va chercher.
Montant. C'est there, hold on. Ok.
Fish.
Now it's out, ok.
Non, mais je vais la relancer la canne là.
Ah, tu veux le relancer? Ja. Wat een trouble. Okay.
Fishing this small but beautiful and mysterious lake with DJ was a great experience. Being the only anglers on such an unspoiled and peaceful water was a real privilege for both of us. I want to thank the owners of the lake, Angelo, Roberto and their assistant Stefano, to have allowed us to fish this lake. And Federico and Manuel for making the movie and helping us with all the logistics.
Ok ragazzi, non ce la faccio
Whilst fishing this little paradise, I got the strange feeling of being a little boy again. A little boy dreaming about the Moby Dick which is hiding somewhere in the dark depths of the lake. I think there's a little boy deep inside every man, and the passion for angling keeps that little boy awake and alive. After all, the real passion for angling is about having dreams and hope for these dreams to become reality one day. I caught my very first carp more than 40 years ago, and I've been dreaming ever since.